Hello everyone, welcome to Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services. It's a video on daily news and editorial analysis, which I'll be covering from the Hindu and Indian Express. The most important news and editorial of the day that is relevant for both prelims and mains examination perspective will be discussed in this session. So let's get started with the news topic list. Today is 12th of August. The first news, that is the 4th India-Bangladesh Annual Defense Dialogue. Second, that is the global employment trend for the U 2022. This is a report which was published by the ILO, that is the International Labour Organization. Third, new dengue virus has been identified in China. We'll see the detail about this as well. Fourth, satellite imagery shows Antarctica ice self-crumbling, that is melting, or you can say the ice sheet is basically coming down. And the last is an editorial, who will save the police, right? Apart from the news and editorial discussion, at the end of this video, there will be MCQ based questions, and these questions will be based on current affairs that will help you for the upcoming prelims examination. So without any further delay, let's get started. And before that, if you are new to our channel, do not forget to subscribe Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services on YouTube. If you like this video, if you find this video informative and helpful, do not forget to press a like button. So starting the session with the first news of the day, that is the 4th India-Bangladesh Annual Defense Dialogue, relevant for General Studies Paper 2, under the topic India and its Neighborhood Relations. So recently, the 4th edition of India-Bangladesh Annual Dialogue was there. So this is the 4th summit was held, and the dialogue was co-chaired by the Defense Secretary from India and the principal staff officers of the Armed Force Division, which is also known as AFD in Bangladesh. So this was chaired by two important officers, both from India and Bangladesh. And both India and Bangladesh have renewed their ongoing defense cooperations. दोनों countries ने अपने satisfactions जाहिर की हैं in terms of collaboration that has grown despite the difficulties that has arisen due to the COVID-19 pandemic. And as a part of ongoing इंडो-बांग्लादेश डिफेंस कॉपरेशंस, आर्मीज जो इंडिया की आर्मी है और बांग्लादेश की जो आर्मी है, उन्होंने रिसेंट में 10 एडिशंस ऑफ मिलिट्री एक्सरसाइज विच इज नोन एज सैम्पेट्रिक्स एक्स को भी कंडक्ट किया. सो दिस इज अगेन इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर द प्रीलिम्स एंड मेनी अदर कॉम्पिटिटिव एग्जामिनेशन. कई बार मिलिट्री जो एक्सरसाइज के क्वेश्चंस हैं वो यूपीएससी प्रीलिम्स में भी एंड इवन फॉर सीएपीएफ, राइट, जो सीएपीएफ के बच्चे एग्जाम दे रहे हैं उनके लिए भी डायरेक्टली क्वेश्चंस इंपॉर्टेंट है. So what was the focus and priority area of this dialogue? What both India and Bangladesh has agreed upon? So the talk covered the existing bilateral exercise. जो existing bilateral exercise के साथ जो ट्रेनिंग चल रही है उसे और आगे बढ़ाने की और कॉम्प्लेक्स करने की जरूरत है. So a better engagement in terms of bilateral exercise is essentially required. This is what India and Bangladesh has recognized. Now both sides has reviewed the progress on the various bilateral defense cooperation initiative and express commitment to further elevate the engagement between the armed forces, right? And both sides has also emphasized for the need to work closely to implement 550 million line of credit that is extending between India and Bangladesh for the defense item, right? So if you're writing specifically in mains examination, आप इस तरह के points relevantly use कर पाएंगे. Now, India and Bangladesh has agreed to further elevate the engagement between the two countries in their armed forces. Now, moving to the other news, that is global employment trend for U 2022. This was a report published by the ILO, relevant for General Studies Paper 2, that is welfare schemes for the vulnerable section of the population by the center and the state government. So according to the global employment trend for youth 2022, this is specifically the report which was published by the International Labour Organization, right? And the report has noted that India is experiencing a severe work hour and employment losses which was seen during 2020 and 2021 amid before lockdown and post lockdown, right? So as per the report, the Indian youth employment has deteriorated in 2021 as compared to the situation which was there in 2022. So a comparison has been made between a year span before COVID and till post-COVID. So recovery in the youth employment is still lagging this is evident, although government has also come up with a report where it says that marginally the rate of unemployment has decreased, but it is not something that we can cheers for, right? तो जो reality ये है कि employment still lagging globally, and the COVID-19 has hurt the young people more than any other age group, because these are the group which were mostly susceptible because of the lockdown and many others restrictions that was ongoing across the globe. Now, findings of the report की अगर बात करें, the global employment trend for youth 2022. So the report finds that the pandemic has worsened the numerous labor market challenges facing the aged between 15 to 24. एक potential age group है. Although in India, after 18 you are allowed to work, but then also the youngster as this age group have experienced much higher price loss in terms of employment than adult in any other group since 2020. So by अगर बेस ईयर लिया जाए तो 2020 उसको कैलकुलेट कर सकते हैं. Now the global numbers of the unemployment in the youth is estimated to reach 73 billion. This is 73 million, just to correct, this is 73 million by 2022. तो रिपोर्ट्स में बात कही गई है कि अगर इसी तरह से अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट के नंबर्स बढ़ी तो ये नंबर ग्रेजुअली 73 मिलियंस तक जा सकती हैं, एक्चुअली कही है. And slight improvement was seen basically in 2021. Earlier it was 75 million, now it has reached up to 73. So a margin of 2 million has reduced, right? But still millions of people have been affected from the pre-pandemic level, that is 2019. The unemployment rate of the young people in Asia and the Pacific region is projected to be around 14.9%. 14.9% के आसपास numbers हैं, and the same were also for the global average. Now, youth employment participation rate की अगर बात करें, according to the report by the Center for Monitoring and Indian Economy, इन्होंने अपने रिपोर्ट में ये बताया that in India the youth employment participations has declined by 0.9%. So these are again a factual point that you should note. 0.9% से marginally decrease हुई है, ऐसा बताना है CMI, right? CMI, that is for Center for Monitoring Indian Economy. And over the past 9 months, that is for 2021, and the relative value for 2020, while it has increased by 2% for the adult over the same period. So these are the two factual information coming from the Center for Monitoring Indian Economy. Now, lockdown के क्या impact हुए educations पे apart from unemployment? So globally, जो report publish की गई है by ILO, that is the global report trend for the youth, it finds that Indian school closure has lasted for none less than 18 months, and among that 24 crore school ongoing children was impacted, and only 8% of such children has rural background, and 23% of the urban have adequate access to online education, although this is marginally low. And it is said that the closure has not only prevented the new learning, but has also led the phenomena of learning regressions. Because this was something new, the new methodology of teaching was incorporated, which was not friendly for the student as such, right? तो इस वजह से जो forgetting की जो rate है, learning losses, memory losses की जो numbers report किए गए वो काफ़ी high है. Now in India, 92% of children on average has lost at least one foundational ability in learning, that is 82% of the total, and at least one foundational ability in mathematics. So this is what the report has specifically focused upon, the losses of education that was seen and evident in India. Now moving to the other news, new Langia virus or LangV भी जिसको कहते हैं, has been identified in China. So this is relevant for General Studies paper 2, that is issues related to development and management of health and education. Basically, this is related to management of health. So new virus named Lengia Henpa virus. This was reported from eastern China, right? A new virus post-COVID. This is something has been reported and definitely as a concern for mankind. But जो एक्सपर्ट्स हैं उनका कहना है जिस तरह से लिथैलिटी कोविड-19 वायरस की थी उतनी लीथल ये वायरस नहीं है, उतनी ज़्यादा इसकी खास करके ट्रांसमिशंस की बात करें उतनी हाई नहीं. नाउ इट इज सस्पेक्टेड टू हैव कॉज्ड इन्फेक्शंस टू 35 चिल्ड्रन, बेसिकली 35 पीपल जो है वो चाइना में इन्फेक्ट किए गए. एंड रिसर्चर्स हैव नोटेड दैट द लेंगिया हेनिपा वायरस इज बेसिकली कैरिड बाय द शूज. ये आप देख सकते हैं इमेज में. दिस इज अ फैमिली फ्रॉम रैट and other squirrels. So they might have infected people directly or through a intermediate animal. Origin of virus की अगर बात करें where it was actually originated, so the Langia virus or Henipa virus was first discovered in the eastern China provinces of Shandong and Henan in 2018. So this is not new, although it's not completely new, but it was found to the some cases, right? And it's a member that belong to the family of Nipah and Hendra virus. तो नीपा वायरस जो केरला में भी रिपोर्ट की गई है इंडिया में, वो सेम वहीं पे भी रिपोर्ट की गई, राइट? टू डेडली निपा वायरस स्प्रेड वर देयर इन क्लोज कॉन्टैक्ट विद infected pig, horse, and bats, right? So, according to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, it says that the Hendra virus has 57% of mortality, right? And the Nipah virus is somewhere between 40 to 70%. This is the mortality rate of the fatality rate of the virus. Although these all disease are zoonotic disease, that transmission poses from one of the world greatest health challenges, right? And according to the World Health Organization, Africa continent has shown 63% increase in animal to human virus transmission in the last decade. There might be some natural causes, but the man-made causes, like we're disturbing the ecological balance, even in China, specifically eating the exotic animal foods that is being shared, and even it has been argued by some of the experts that food is not properly cooked. So that is the another possible reason. So we should not disturb the ecological balance, right? Animals have their own set of balance, and human being is interfering by eating other sort of exotic animals in their daily routine, right? So this is something, it is definitely disturbing the entire ecological balance. Now, fatality of virus की अगर बात करें, the virus named Langia henipavirus or LAGV can cause a respiratory symptoms which include fever, cough, and fatigue, and they can cause a respiratory infection which can be fatal. And researchers think that LAGV is carried out by shoot, which might have infected person directly or through an intermediate host. Now, this virus was described in England, basically a journal called Medicine One, on August 2022. Now, satellite imagery shows Antarctica ice shelf crumbling. This is something important for General Studies Paper 3 under the topic Conservation, Environmental Pollutions, Degradation, and EIA. So, according to the satellite analysis, it was being observed and it was being found that the Antarctica coastal glaciers are shedding the iceberg more rapidly than it could have done by nature, right? तो ये जो replenish हो रही है, the crumbling of iceberg is doubling the previous estimate of the loss from the world largest ice sheet over the past 25 years. This is immediate concern not only for the region but for all the members countries across the globe. Now, this is for the first kind of the study that was led by the researchers at NASA Jet Propulsion Laboratories near Los Angeles that have published the report in the journal. So this name of the organization become important for many other competitive examinations. And the study raised concern about how fast the climate change is weakening the Antarctica floating ice shelf and accelerating the rise in the global sea level. So if you're writing answer on the mains, right? तो अगर आप mains में खास करके rise sea level, global sea level rise की बात करें, तो ये examples आप यहाँ पे जरूर include करें. Now, the net loss of the continent ice shelf is cleaving along the past quarter span, which is closely around 37,000 kilometers, and an area which is the size of Switzerland, according to the NASA propulsion laboratory scientists. तो आप समझ सकते हैं कि जो जितनी बड़ी स्विट्जरलैंड कंट्री है, उतनी एरिया तक की एक्सपेंशन हुई है आइस शेल्फ की. And the consequences can be enormous. Antarctica hold 88% of the sea level potential of all the world ice. So this is again a factual point. Now, impact on the ice shelves की अगर बात करें, the ice shelves, what is basically it? It's a permanent floating sheet that are of the frozen fresh water attached to the land and take thousands of years to form and act as a buttresses holding back the glaciers that would otherwise easily slide off into the ocean and cause the sea level to rise. तो इसमें बहुत लंबे समय लगते हैं, but this was evident only in 25 years, right? and the ice seas are stable, and the long-term natural cycles of cleaving and regrowth keeps the size fairly constant. तो एक cycle जो चलती है उसमें भी काफ़ी ज़्यादा disturbance हुई है. The accelerated glacial cleaving, like ice thinning, was the most pronounced West Antarctica, and the area was hit harder by the warming of the ocean current. So, possible reason and many other environmental factors. So, you can see this image. This is evident how it is melting. So, you can even Google down more images, and even for the videos, you'll get the clarity on that. I have given a sample image to make you understand this is how it actually gets melted. Now moving to the editorial of the day, who will save the police? Something relevant for General Studies paper 3, that is the various security forces, agency and their mandate. So I'll be simplifying this editorial under 3 important subheads, that is the efficacy and honesty, beat system and the police station, and the posting at the top positions. So the entire editorial talks about the concerns of the functioning of the police. So we'll see the detail how the functioning of the police take place, right? So a slow executions of police as an institutional has continued. Basically, in this editorial, a concern has been raised that how the political system is not willing to actually boost the overall functioning of the police, right? So politicians are considered to destruct and destroy the institutions, and we as citizens are acting as a mute spectator. तो इस एडिटोरियल के थ्रू जो एडिटर है, तो ऑथर वांट बेसिकली जो राइटर्स हैं, he wanted to convey that how this has actually impacted the entire system in our country. Now the recipe for killing police is an organization that tasks our politicians to take up the real basically witness. And even the politicians are building up a muscles of the central investigation agencies so that the state police organization become irrelevant and defective. तो जितनी भी सेंट्रल ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है लाइक CBI, इवन फॉर द इन्फोर्समेंट डायरेक्टरेट और भी NIA, ये सारे एजेंसीज हैं, इनको ज़्यादा स्ट्रेंथन किया जा रहा है. और स्टेट पुलिस की तरफ जो ध्यान देने की जरूरत थी, दैट वाज नॉट टेकन ईदर बाय द स्टेट गवर्नमेंट नॉट फ्रॉम द सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट. Now in the federal structure, state must be shown their proper place, especially for those who led by the oppositions. Now inefficiency and honesty की बात की गई है. So if you look into the officers in charge, he should be impartial in nature, right? Efficient and compassionate than that, who should approach a local member or a member of parliament for divine intervention, right? So it is essential कि जो state के level पे या फिर जो public representation है, उनके level पे भी काम करने की जरूरत है, right? And the strategy commonly used to considerable fineness to have a police station is mandated by an officer of his choice, who in turn can play a daily obsessions and might help the politicians to back the officers and does not bother to concede. तो हमें एक ऐसे ऑफिसर्स की ज़रूरत है जो सिर्फ मिनिस्टर्स के इंस्ट्रक्शंस पे नाम करे, ना ही काम करे, बल्कि जो सिटीजन की वेलफेयर्स हैं उनको देखे. अगर कोई इंडिविजुअल मिनिस्टर के इंस्ट्रक्शंस पे काम कर रहा है, तो जो एक वेलफेयर स्टेट का कॉन्सेप्ट है, जो एक खास करके रूल ऑफ लॉ की बात है, वो बहुत ज़्यादा इन्फेक्टेड नहीं होगी, राइट? सो इट इज़ वेरी एविडेंट दैट द रूल ऑफ लॉ शुड प्रिवेल and no one should be, no individual should be getting a benefit of it. So the officer in charge would naturally allocate beats. अगर आप beats के बारे में नहीं जानते हैं, so in the metropolitan cities, it's a big cities, तो हर एक एरिया को, हर एक लेन को या 2-3 लेन को एक बीट में डिवाइड किया जाता है, where constable are provided with the duties. But what was being found that their people, the local, basically the influential people called Dadas, were actually the part of the investigation crime, and even they have impacted the overall functioning of the police. So it is the need of the hour that we should take a think of this and make the proper function. This is only possible once the senior level officer is monitoring this, right? So efficacy and honesty is very much important. Now, beat system and police stations की अगर बात करें, after ensuring an efficient beat system and the police station in the district, there's an enormous task of getting men and women choice of their chief as a district police on their deputies, right? तो कई बार ऐसा भी हो कि जो वहाँ के officers हैं, उनसे भी राय मशवरा की जा सकती है, which kind of officers is actually helping them to get their work done, right? So maximum fund are raised through the power of arrest, settling that disparate dispute. तो कई बार जो finances की अगर बात करें, so some of the finances for the police station is also raised from the other means, and money is needed by the officers to secure a good posting, politicians for their lifestyle desire, and parties for their election purposes. So this is the major cause for the corruption in this state, which is definitely impacting the law and order in this state as well, right? Now, posting at the top positions की अगर बात करें, the next big step is the posting of the zonal officers, or you can say the ZIPs, जो IGPs होते हैं, Inspector General of Police. It's not a big deal, right? And there are not many seniors officer who would be knocking the door for the right positions, because there are other officers also who are working with their best capacity without any interventions, and the word of the top bureaucrat ensure that they are chosen and posted at the earliest where the wheels are moving smoothly. So we need to ensure that governance is at the par, not the politicians, not any favors, not an individual interest. It should be always the welfare of the citizen and the rule of the law that should prevail to the larger extent. Now moving to the MCQ questions of the day. Before I proceed, just to tell you the answers of yesterday questions. For first question, the correct option is C. For second question, the correct option is C again. Today's MCQ for practice, आपको बताना है O Smart के बारे में. It's recently seen in news. It aims at regulated use of ocean marine resources for sustainable development. It's a strategic partnership with IEA to promote transparency in the jute sector, or liquidity risk monitoring tool for the stock market. So do check it out for the correct options. The second question of the day, that is the International Energy Agency. The World Energy Outlook is released by IEA annually, and second is India is not an associate member of IEA. So do check it out for the correct option. This type of question might be relevant for your upcoming prelims examination and many other government examination. So this was all about for the daily news and editorial analysis, followed by the MCQ questions. If you have any other concern, you can let me know. I'll be more than happy to assist you. For time being, I'm signing off. Thank you so much for watching this video.